So this is the message from Trump today. No evacuation plan for embassies because it happened very quickly. And I want to go over what's going on because this is absolutely insane. It's basically our people are stranded. And I talked about this in the last video. Now we have 3 embassies closed, says amid Iran strikes, 3 U.S. embassies close in Middle East. Airspace closes in 6 countries. And again, we have thousands of Americans stranded. This is also going on. State Department scrambles to aid stranded Americans amid attacks, airport closes. And I told you guys about this before when there was an attack on the embassy. This would be in Saudi Arabia, the Riyadh one. And I said, I'm not sure what the extent of the damage is. I just wasn't sure. Our headline was basically embassy attacked. And then now we're actually getting an internal report, and it's worse than what they originally said. And I'll read it. It says here, an internal State Department alert reviewed, the Washington Post said the embassy in Riyadh was hit multiple times by drone attacks, and that its main building was, quote, contaminated with smoke, with part of its roof collapsed. It sounds like pretty bad, and essentially we are having struggles protecting our people. And again, that's the, according to this, the embassy in Riyadh was hit multiple times by drone attacks, and the part of the roof collapsed. This is Trump here then talking about why aren't we evacuating our people. Have a listen.
Commercial air travel right now is severely restricted in the Middle East, and thousands of Americans are stranded. Why wasn't there an evacuation plan, and will you send planes to get people out?
Well, because it happened all very quickly. We thought, and I thought maybe more so than most, I could ask Marco, but I thought we were going to have a situation where we were going to be attacked. They were getting ready to attack Israel. They were getting ready to attack others. You're seeing that right now. And a lot of those missiles that are hitting in, those are stationary. Those were aimed there for a long period of time at these other countries. So I think I was right about that. We attacked first. And if we didn't, it could have been, look, we're really decimating them. They're being decimated.
And that's his explanation of why there wasn't an evacuation plan, because it happened fast. And it's strange because then he's like, well, we thought they were going to attack, but then if you're worried about that, then you would evacuate. And he's like, but we had to attack first. And then if you knew if you were going to attack, then you would evacuate. Basically, these people are completely incompetent. It's obvious. Karen Levitt then is on social media writing, the United States Department is actively working on plans to help Americans in the Middle East return home. If you're an American citizen in the region, U.S. citizen in the region, please register. This is then Mike Huckabee, who gives this really bizarre message, and it doesn't seem real because it's so weird. You can see what I'm saying here.
Greetings to all U.S. citizens who might be in Israel right now. This is Mike Huckabee, U.S. Ambassador to Israel. And I know that there's a lot of anxiety from a lot of people about wanting to leave the country. Right now, the options are fairly limited. The airport is closed, of course, and we don't know when it will be open or how many flights. What we are recommending to all of our American citizens, including our own embassy staff, is follow the directions of Home Front Command, which are right now to shelter in place and to be close to a shelter at all times. Follow the alerts. If you hear the siren, make sure you take cover. That's the best thing you can do. But we also understand there are people who are here not anticipating that they would be here this long, and perhaps needing desperately to get home for work or just to be able to say you've had a great time, but it's time to go home.
Isn't that messed up? You've had a great time as the bombs are falling from the skies, but it's time to go home. It's so weird. It doesn't seem real. And I was talking to my wife about this yesterday, and it's like my first reaction, this is sort of the clip of a sci-fi movie when everything's burning down, right? The sky is falling, and they always play like some sort of message, like say what Mike Huckabee just did, and it seems like a total joke. It's unbelievably crazy, and it's just like, who are these people? Here's some response to this. This is Senator Andy Kim. He says, I worked at the State Department before, and the safety of Americans overseas is the highest responsibility. Warnings to citizens to evacuate 3 days into this war when airspace is closed is a clear sign of zero strategy and planning by the Trump administration. Now, Americans have limited options to evacuate at an extremely dangerous moment with no government assistance. This administration is failing its citizens. And you guys know this. I live abroad, and I've been out of the country for several years. I've lived in multiple places. And this is one of the things that you count on if you're a citizen abroad, is that when you need citizen services, this would be like the most crucial thing. You go to the embassy and you seek help, and this is like when your people really need it. I'm being frank with you guys about this, and for anyone who's ever been abroad, this is like the worst case scenario. You're trapped. I also want to read this. This is from Ted Lieu. He says, "Dear Secretary Rubio, why are other countries able to get their citizens out of danger? Why have you abandoned Americans in danger? Send U.S. government flights or charter flights immediately to get the Americans that you told to evacuate." And he's sharing a clip from, this would be Italians stranded in the Middle East return home on a charter flight organized by the Foreign Ministry, which also assists citizens of other European countries. And this has actually been the news multiple places around the world about basically getting people out, get your people home, right? This is another response. This is from, again, Senator Andy Kim. He says, "My office is receiving panicked calls for Americans stuck in the Middle East, outraged that our government has provided zero evacuation support." And this just came out a couple minutes ago. "This administration must immediately develop a plan to get our citizens out of harm's way, including by working with our allies and partners to secure transportation options for all Americans who wish to depart." And this was just coming out. This is Huckabee again. Listen to what his message to Americans are.
Have a lot more options of going to Cairo, leaving from Taba, or being out of an area that is currently under siege from missiles, drones, and rocket attacks. I hope this is helpful. Most importantly, we're just wanting everybody to take a deep breath, remain calm, and take shelter when that's called for. That's what we do at the U.S. Embassy. Our folks are sheltering at home, just like we're asking you to do. We're working from home, and we hope that all of this will be over soon. But how grateful we are for an amazing country and a great president.
Yeah, and this message by Huckabee, I mean, the whole thing's just sick, right? Hey, just stay calm as the missiles and the rockets and the bombs are flying down, and just get to shelter, get cover. And I don't know, his tone is so bizarre. And it's basically just saying you're stranded, you're stuck. When you hear what the Trumpers say here, you get a sense like this is the people who are supposed to rescue. It's crazy. Listen to this.
A big factor in this world and future factor is what we're doing right now with Iran. If we don't stop them, or if we didn't stop them, or if we didn't start, they've been decimated. But if we didn't do what we're doing right now, you would have had a nuclear war, and they would have taken out many countries, because you know what? They're sick people. They're mentally ill, sick people. They're angry. They're crazy. They're sick.
Whenever Trump says this kind of stuff, he's just talking about himself, right? They're sick people. They're mentally ill, sick people. They're angry. They're crazy. They're sick. I mean, he does this a lot, where he'll talk about himself in this way. It's whole thing's whacked out. And I'll just say this: that there's a film, actually, if you don't know, I was a professor for many years, and I would require my students to watch. It's called Grave of the Fireflies. If you haven't seen it, it's really worth checking out. And it's a film that a lot of Americans don't know about. And basically what it is, it's about World War II Japan while they're being bombed by the Americans, and the experience on the ground. It's from a civilian point of view. And there's a scene in the movie, which is one of the most powerful scenes, is where basically everything's burning down. Civilians are just hunkering, trying to figure out, like, where is it to go? I mean, everything's burning down, and there's like one soldier who's, cheering, "Oh, the great emperor! Oh, that's so great, right? The great empire!" And it's just like that kind of mentality is what you're seeing with Mike Huckabee, with Trump, right? As everything's burning down, that you should celebrate. We're so awesome. It's sick, and this is why you study history, and it's not just history of one country. You study history of everywhere, and learn how these things are.
Mr. President, did Israel force your hand to launch these strikes against Iran? Did Netanyahu pull the United States into this war?
No, I might have forced their hand. You see, we were having negotiations with these lunatics, And it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack. If we didn't do it, they were going to attack first. I felt strongly about that. And we have great negotiators, great people, people that do this very successfully and have done it all their lives very successful. And based on the way the negotiation was going, I think they were going to attack first. And I didn't want that to happen. So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand. But Israel was ready, and we were ready, and we've had a very, very powerful impact.
So we thought they were going to attack first, so we attack first. That's just, the whole thing's sick. And then there's reading some description of people trying to get out. It says, okay, time to go, cabs, cash, and twisted routes to escape Dubai. And this just gives you a general idea. I mean, it's obviously difficult to get out, but some people you have to take ground transport. It says, realizing that the airspace wouldn't be reopening anytime soon, more decided to leave Doha for Saudi Arabia, where flights were still operating. Teaming up with another traveler, they found a driver who would take them on a 6-hour journey to Riyadh for $1,000. That's what it costs. And while there are plenty of accounts of well-heeled crypto millionaires and glamorous influencers being whisked away in fancy Range Rovers and private jets, the reality for the vast majority of has been far more mundane. In Moore's case, our $1,000 ride was an old Toyota, and the pair switched cars and drivers at the border and ate at gas stations along the way. Moore then booked a British Airways flight home via London that cost another $2,000. So that's the general cost going right now. I was curious myself on some people who were able to, arrange transport. What would it cost? And I'll also say this. Not everyone is doing privately. This has been the news here in Korea, where the government is assisting people. Koreans evacuate amid Mideast crisis. I'll just read a little bit so you get a flavor of what it is. As the situation in the Middle East worsens, our citizens residing in the region have also begun emergency evacuations. Currently, our government is transporting them to safe areas and is prepared for any eventualities, including the deployment of military transport aircraft if necessary. So that's what they've been talking about. And this is what normal countries do, right? You get your people out. Some nationals staying in Iran have confirmed to be in the process of evacuation. They're currently moving to safe areas with the cooperation of our embassy, right? And remember, in the USA, I think as I said, they closed 3 embassies. Huckabee says they're working from home, but you have to also understand that, remember, Trump and Elon Musk and their people were cutting several federal workers because they thought AI could replace everyone, right? So there's a lot of experienced people who could have helped Americans that are no longer at the job, and it's a terrible situation. The State Department's been decimated. We've talked about this several times, where they just fired experienced people. It's awful, and so that's why I'm showing you the contrast here of the news here in Korea. Also says, this is from Korea. However, the government has not disclosed specific details such as number of evacuees, timing, and routes for safety reasons, which totally understand. Quote from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs: "We're receiving an expression of hope from our citizens who wish to return. If evacuation is necessary, it will be carried out according to the evacuation plan." And then they're saying here there's someone over there who plays at the volleyball team and in the Iranian Professional Football League. Interesting. There are approximately 21,000 of our nationals staying in 13 Middle Eastern countries, including Iran and Israel, with about 4,000 of them are estimated to be short-term residents, including travelers mainly in the United Arab Emirates and the Dubai. And so I'm just showing you guys this. It's not just Korea. It's also, it's countries like Belgium, any number. I saw France was doing this. I saw the UK, multiple countries. I'm just showing you because I live here and I see the local news, and that's been the talk. Is how can we bring our people home? And when you flip over to the American news, as I show you, it's like Trump's talking about sick and crazy people and stuff. It's ridiculous, and that's where we're at. So just wanted to share the news with you. Please stay safe out there, and I'll catch you all in the next video.